You're all set.
Oh, that's me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to parent meeting number 5, 6. Thank you for joining us tonight. We kind of have the regular crew here, but I'm just gonna introduce everybody and they can give you a wave and then we'll get started here. If you're thinking of questions as we're talking, type them into the question and answer area over there and we'll get to those live at the end. If you can only type in the chat, type them in the chat. We'll collect them from the chat over there as well. So I'm Mr. Shopik, I'm the principal, and with us tonight, I'll have to mess around with my screen a little bit because you're all tiny on the top. I'm just going to go across the board, so you're all going to be mixed up. Next to me on my screen is Assistant Principal Mr. McNeese.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Jason McNeese. I'm also referred to as the new guy. So I've enjoyed my short time here already, and I'm looking forward to meeting you and your kiddos. So thank you very much for welcoming to Oñate High School.
Next is Mr. Wombo. We normally say the best for last. Mr. Wombo, we're going to get you second.
Something like that. Hey everybody, Mr. Womble. Can't wait to see y'all at school next week.
Next,
I'm the
Assistant
counselor for Arthur Z.
Counselor Arthur Z. Dr. Baker, Assistant Principal.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Miss McVan, Counselor.
Hi, everyone. Counselor for F through L. Nice to see you all.
Mr. Holguin, Assistant Principal.
How's it going?
Miss Tareen, Counselor.
Hi, everyone. I work with students with the last name A through E.
And, well, I guess we could use it tonight too. Save the best for last. Mr. Lucero, Assistant Principal.
Well, I don't know about that. I think that was just luck of the draw on the screen, but hi guys, great to see you. Can't wait to see you next Tuesday.
All right, got a few more popping in here. So welcome everybody. If you got questions, put them in the question and answer. We'll answer some of them in the chat, answer them live. But if you think of questions along the way, type them in there. We'll get them all at the end. So again, welcome. It's March 31st. We are so excited to hopefully see a bunch of your kiddos next Tuesday. Again, kids are kind of off tomorrow. They should be working on their assignments and doing some stuff tomorrow. And then we'll see most of them. We have a day off on Monday, and then we'll see them all back on Tuesday if they're on the schedule to come back. And then Wednesday's the remote day already, and then Thursday, Friday. So it'll take us a few days to get into the routine. So we have a little slideshow for you to kind of go over the basics of kind of what we're going to need for next week and all that good stuff. Without further ado, we're all going to kind of be jumping in here for the presentation tonight. But again, if you got questions for us, type them in the question and answer, type them in the chat, and we'll get all your questions answered before you leave tonight. What's next?
I think it's my turn. Okay, I have to move around the head so I can see the slides. Give me just a second here. Okay, the next few slides are just going to give you an idea of how the school day and the schedule are shifting, what it'll look like. Feel free to take screenshots if you want to, but I will also share the PDF at the end of the presentation, and we'll mail it out tomorrow through InTouch, so you can have all the information that way as well. Beginning April 6th, we're going to what is called full re-entry into the building, welcoming kids back into the castle for face-to-face instruction. So when kids return, they will begin classes at 9:25 a.m. and dismissal will be at 3:30 p.m. I'll show you a big schedule so it all becomes clear after this slide. 70-minute class periods, and we're adhering to a block schedule. So what your child's used to now, odds on Monday and Thursday and evens on Tuesday, Friday will be consistent, with advisory on that Tuesday and Friday as well. For the return to the building, we've extended the passing periods to be a little bit longer than the kids are used to having, just so we can do control of traffic and movement of people throughout the building, trying to adhere to social distancing as much as possible. The teaching and learning, students will still turn in all of their work on Canvas, even though they're returning to the building. 1 to 2 assignments weekly will be a consistent expectation, just like it is now, up to 3 for those advanced placement courses. And the 0 as a 50% is still being held in place through the remainder of the year. So those are some of the consistents. The timing is changing a little bit on the class periods, but we're trying to hold true to a little bit of consistency in this move back to the building. If your student and your family is choosing to stay remote, it'll look a little bit different. And some things will remain the same. The platform will still be Canvas, and it will look more like a true virtual learning academy or VLA model, meaning the frequency of the Zooms is no longer going to be the exact same, but there will be daily opportunities to meet with teachers on Zoom. So the resources, the assignment expectations, those will continue to be uploaded, and teachers have several different ways that they can go about providing the instruction in an asynchronous format now. They can pre-record lessons. So we have some teachers that want to pre-record during their planning time on Wednesdays and then upload those for the student to use. Some teachers will record the first time they teach the lesson in the classroom and then upload that for the remote learner. And we have some that will actually communicate with their individual classes about when your remote learner can Zoom into the class and see the lesson at the same time that it's being taught. But most teachers will do the pre-recorded or the recording of their live teaching so that the support is there in Canvas for the remote learners. Every day on the schedule from 8:15 to 9:15 a.m., our teachers will be available to remote learners on Zoom. So if your student's having trouble in math or has a question, they'll have the link to go to the math teacher during that time and get support with their work for the week. And that's available every single morning for remote. Remote learners can ask for tutoring or extra office hours on Wednesday afternoons, and teachers can be available then to meet with them. And we will have our teachers still adhere to the 24-hour turnaround and communication for those learners so that they're getting the timely feedback that they need. Here's what the schedule looks like now that we're shifting back to in-person. So you'll see that the Monday and, oh, I messed up the colors, sorry. I just caught that. Monday is 8:15 to 9:15, Zoom remote tutoring, and then you see 1, 3, 5, and 7, and then Tuesdays 2, 4, 6, 8. The weird thing about coming back on a Tuesday is the students will report to second period first on their first day of school because we have that Monday holiday. Wednesday is remote learning for all students. That's our deep cleaning day in the building so that our janitors can get in there and really clean everything and make sure it's sanitized for the remainder of the week. So all students, including the return to building, will be at home on Wednesday and have those blocks of times to work on their schoolwork and get help from teachers in the afternoon if they request it. As far as safety goes in the building, there's been tons of considerations and several things we'll show you tonight. Our building has been approved for re-entry by the fire marshal. Masks have to be worn by all staff and students at all times. We check to make sure that they fit properly and meet all of the requirements and have extra in case the student forgets one or comes with one that isn't approved for attending school. We have an e-static machine that it looks like Ghostbusters. That's Oscar. He goes around daily throughout the day to use the e-static machine to spray down surfaces like doorknobs, restrooms, the handles on the railways going up and down stairs. That will continue to be used often throughout the day so that we are being mindful of good COVID safe practices. For lunch, our 9th graders remain on campus, and 10th and 11th graders have to apply for off-campus privileges by 4/12, April 12th, that's a Monday. We're going to show you that form later in this presentation, so you know exactly what you need to do if your student is going to be going off campus for lunch. In the event we have COVID spread in our building, LCPS does have a communication plan for what we will do if a child tests positive for COVID. This is the safety protocol that we're following district-wide. So there are mechanisms in place to be able to communicate and make sure that we're following all of the requirements that are in place from our PED and health department. There was a great question in the chat, one of the first questions. What about our freshmen or our new students that haven't ever seen the building? How is that going to work? So we have 2 different plans in place for our new students who need to figure out where everything is. Tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., our student council kiddos, Honor Society, and Mrs. Talley, our amazing science teacher, have put together a tour. They went through old yearbooks, found different stops and historical little findings about our school, and you can bring your freshman or your new student. Parents are not allowed in the building at this time, but the kids can come with their schedule either on Student View. We'll print schedules for the freshmen, and you can go around the building, find your classrooms, meet some students, start to begin to get a feel for what our building is like. It'll be on the west side PAC entrance. We'll take temperature checks, make sure there's a face mask, and we'll take the kids on a tour. And at the end, they'll get their ID so they don't have to stand in line on the first day. If you come tomorrow, if you're a freshman and you're new to our school, we'll make sure you get your student ID issued at the time of your castle tour instead of having to do it on April 6th. So it's come and go. You don't have to come at 9 a.m. if 10 or 11, whatever works in your schedule in that 3-hour block, whatever works best, please feel free to come by and we will make your student feel welcome in our house. If you're new to our building, here's a map that shows kind of how we route kids on a daily basis. There's a few exceptions here and there, but in general, the student parking and drop off for parents that are bringing their student happens on the west side, Performing Arts Center entrance. And that's the side without the mountains. And then the bus drop off is on the side with the mountains. That's where we have another entrance and all of our stuff set up to do the well checks. This just helps us control the flow of traffic, make sure everyone gets in quickly, but that we have all the protocols in place for doing the well checks as well. And we have lots of security guards. Mr. Lucero's usually out there, Mr. Holguin, they all help direct traffic. So if you're new, don't worry, there will be someone there to help you figure out how to navigate the building and the parking lot. As far as the first day and arrival, what it should look like each day, you can report to the building between 8:30 to 9:20 a.m. is the recommendation. You'll get your contactless temperature check. If you have your OHS ID, if you're a 9th, 10th, or 10th, 11th, or 12th grader, you should bring that with you daily, every single day. You need to have your ID. If you don't have one, we will issue a temporary ID to you, but we'll also have grab and go breakfast that you can pick up, and then you go straight to your class. So students aren't going to congregate and hang out before school. They have to go to their first class period of the day, eat breakfast, and get started there. Class officially starts at 9:25 a.m. And on day 1, so if you can't come tomorrow for a castle tour, it's fine. We're going to have plenty of ROTC, student council, and honor society members to show the new students around the building and escort them to classes and kind of take them on a little tour. So you'd want to get there closer to 8:30 if that's a need. It's just going to take time to get a flow of traffic and get everyone in with the proper IDs and all of that good stuff. But we have tons of upperclassmen on hand to help with finding where to go extra maps printed and all that kind of stuff. And from there, Mr. Shopacom's going to talk about lunch and transportation.
I am.
You are.
So on the 6th, so we have Tuesday, and then we're kind of off on remote day on Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday. So we're going to give you 3 days to fill out this off-campus lunch form. So we'll have them readily available on those days. So freshmen, you're not allowed off campus this year, so you're stuck. But for the rest, as long as you turn in this form to us, don't worry about the GPA and the attendance and the fees and all that stuff for this time. But as long as you have a signature and parents are good with it, you're allowed to leave campus. You'll have to go to the front office, drop off your form, and then we have, I think it's a green sticker to put on your ID. So if you have your ID from last year, we have a teacher down there, Miss Ewing, who retired last year, but we'll use that. We'll put a little sticker on there that says the name, ID, the grade. And then if you don't have an ID, we're going to have one that has the big O and the nighthead in it. And then on the back of the card, we'll put that same information. And then if you're off campus, then we'll add that little sticker to it. So really, you have 3 days to get that done. And then Monday, we'll start checking those as kids are leaving campus. So they can't get off campus without the sticker. So parents, please help me out and tell your students if you want them to stay on campus, they're not allowed to leave. We need a few days to kind of control that piece. So if you can help us out, and if you want them to stay on campus, tell them to stay on campus, and we will start enforcing this on Monday, the 12th. We just need a few days to get all these forms back and all that good stuff. So you want your kiddos to stay, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to kind of let everybody off those first couple days till we get all these forms back and all that good stuff. So make sure that once you get this ID and sticker that you keep it, you bring it every day. Even when you go off campus for lunch and come back, we're still going to ask you to show us that ID for security purposes, and then we'll take your temperature check again, and then you're on your way. If you don't bring this ID, you're going to end up standing in a line and waiting with others that don't have it. So, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, tomorrow, if you want to come in, we're going to have this all set up. So if you want to get this done tomorrow, as you're coming in, I don't think we're going to have that big of a group, but then you can kind of bypass all those lines on Tuesday. So really, you're going to have to be patient with us. Excuse me, on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we're going to have some long lines getting all this stuff done. But I'm hoping by the Monday, the 12th, that we'll have a good routine. You show us this card, we take your temp, and you move on. But as far as being safe and secure and all that good stuff, I know they don't have pictures, but we do have that information so we can check. And like, we haven't seen some of the freshmen at all. Just a little concerned about safety. So that's how we're going to run that. If you're an 8th grader coming from a middle school last year and a freshman this year, you can use last year's ID. That's perfectly fine. We'll just throw a sticker on the back of that. That'll work. But we have plenty of those others available if you need one. So again, we'll be passing out these forms on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then, you know, really, if you need to pick one up, you can get one from the front office. But starting on April 12th, you won't be allowed to leave campus without this form turned in and a different sticker on your ID. So don't worry about pictures. We're not going to put pictures on them this year. We're not going to get the pictures done in time. They're not going to give us the cards in time. So we'll get that all set in July and August of next year for the next school year. So then you have your ID for next year. Again, don't worry if you don't have it, we'll get you one. Again, you have to be patient with the lines and all that good stuff. So if you got questions, type them over there, but I think that covers that piece. Is this me too?
It can be you or Mr. Womble. He's become today's
Oh, yeah.
expert on bus routes. So Mr. Womble, I have all of your slides if you want to take a second and talk about them.
Okay, there have definitely been lots of questions about bus routes. And this is one way to find your bus route through the app, Student View or Parent View app. When you go into your student, there's an option for student info. I'm moving my mouse like you can see what I'm pointing at. So you log into the Student View app, you go to student info, and then down at the bottom where the number 3 is, there's additional information. When you click on that, it opens up a screen that has your bus route, your bus number, pickup, drop-off times, locations, things like that. So that should be all available in Student View. Hopefully tomorrow. I was told that bus routes will be finalized tomorrow, so that should all be there if you signed up for bus transportation at the beginning of the year. If you did not sign up for bus transportation and you still want to use it, it's going to be like we normally start the school year. You have to find your bus drop off. You go there, they'll get a piece of paper to sign up and have that set up, but should be there. Next slide. If it is not in your Student View account, there's something on the website. It's called Bus Locator, but you go to number 1, you go to lcps.net, and then under departments, you go down to transportation and you click on transportation, go to the next slide. And this is the transportation page. So I've circled the school locator and bus information. So when you click on that, next slide, it takes you to this page where you may have used it before. You put your grade, your address with your house number, street address, and then you just click find school transportation info. If possibly you live in a much newer subdivision area and nothing registers, then you would need to call our transportation department, and the number is up there. And then this is the number for STS. So that should all work. If all that fails, I was told the bus routes are supposed to be on LCPS, the homepage tomorrow. So you should be able to pull up the bus route locations and find your buses, times, things like that. Do be aware and don't assume it's the same bus in the morning as it is in the afternoon. Usually it is, but I think there's like one couple of places that have a different bus in the morning than in the afternoon. But just make sure you look at that bus roster and look at the pickup and the drop off. It'll be listed by schools, and so you should have all that information. That cover everything?
That was fabulous. Thank you, Mr. Womble.
Mr. Shoppergum doesn't like it when I talk too much.
I like the teeth. I think this is Mr. Holguin.
Did you say this was me?
That's you.
Oh, okay. So when you guys come in, oh shoot, hey,
Sorry.
settle down, going too fast. So when you guys come into the building, you're gonna notice there'll be signs posted all over the place with social distancing. You'll see a lot of the what does it say there? Drive right. So, you know, just like you're driving a vehicle, everyone's, you know, stay on the right-hand side as you're coming and going. The students that we've had back for more in-person learning for the last month or so, done a really outstanding job with making this happen and getting this done. Everyone's done really well. Just keep in mind, you know, there'll be hand sanitizer stations throughout the building. Either you may see some pump stations, or you will see some of the hand sanitizers that have been attached to the wall. So they're there on both sides of the hallways, in the bathrooms, things of that nature. So you're gonna see quite a bit of signs all over the place with even social distancing, as far as, like I said, with the 6 feet social distancing. We know that's a little different in some cases, but those are posted on the floor. What else? In the restrooms, you'll see all the signs as well. So go ahead, next slide. So again, like I just mentioned, the social distancing, 3 feet apart, or as you know, the greatest extent possible. You know, there's a possibility that we're going to have, I believe it's close to 900 students that are wanting to come back. So that's, you know, just over half of our student population. So we just do, you know, the best we can to maintain that social distancing. And like I said, the students who have been there have done a really good job of doing that. In the classroom, seats will all be arranged facing the same way. Each classroom is going to have a bottle of hand sanitizer and some Kleenex, mask, gloves, and cleaner as needed. Some of that stuff will need to be done by our custodial staff if it warrants to be done during class time, things of that nature. Teachers, you know, will be able to use the outdoor space depending on the weather. If you want to go outside, it's just going to be a lot of communication, letting the front office know where you're at, so that way we know where the students are at, and in case we need to get a hold of someone for any reason during the school day. Equipment, textbooks, those will be washed, sanitized before and after use in the classroom. And there will be, I believe, what is it, like kind of Clorox disinfecting wipes that we'll be getting for the classrooms, so that teachers and students can do that after they've used equipment and things of that nature in preparation for the next group of kids to come in the following period. But I believe that's about it. Is this me? Well, oh, it is, okay. I did read the email before the meeting. I just wasn't sure if this was mine. So thank you, Dr. Baker. So this is just kind of an example of what the classroom's going to look like. You know, it's 3 feet. And with that being said, initially, you know, we could have up to, I think it was 14 students with the 6 feet social distancing rule. Now with the 3 feet, where obviously we can have more students in the classroom. But this just kind of gives you an idea of what the classrooms are going to look like when you guys come back. And some of you are already back, so you kind of have an idea as to what's going on. What you should bring, I know this is mine. I did see this on the email. So students, make sure you bring your ID. Okay, like we've been talking about, there will be temporary IDs made if you don't have one. Backpack, paper, pencil, pen, basic things. You know, I saw a question in there about, can you bring a backpack? Yes. You know, school, bring your school supplies, things that you may need. Bring your computer, your laptop, make sure and charge it, but also bring your charger with you just in case. Headphones or earbuds, bring those with you. Those of you that have been back, you've been doing that. In some cases, if you don't have any, you know, we can get you a set of headphones that you can utilize just in case you need that during class time as well. Water bottle, bring a water bottle. We do have water stations that have been installed in the building that have the sensor. So you just stick your water bottle underneath that, stick it there, I guess, and it shoots water into your water bottle. So you don't have to touch anything. Snacks or lunch, bring some snacks or lunch. And the biggest thing, just, you know, positive attitude. Hey, we're back. You're gonna get a chance to socialize with some of your buddies, with staff. And I think that's what we're most excited about, is to just seeing faces back in the building. It's been nice to see those that have been back. So just come ready. And if you're in a band, make sure you bring your music instrument, because some of that will be taking place. Just like a regular school day. You know what you can bring and what you can't bring, whether or not you're a sophomore, junior, senior, or an incoming freshman, because you've been in school for a lot of years, and there's just some things, you know, you can't bring. So we will address those things if you do bring them. So we look forward to seeing you guys. And I believe that's my last slide, right? Yeah.
Yep, you're all done. Great.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys.
Just going back a little bit to the computers, we have extra computers. So if you're using your own personal device at home, You can leave that at home. If you want to bring it, that's fine, but we have computers in the front office that we can check out. We'll check out for the rest of the semester, and then you just bring it back to us at the end of the school year. But we have computers. Just send your kiddo to the front office, and we'll get them all signed up and all that good stuff. So, but make sure you bring your computer and your charger and all that stuff every day, just in case.
Mr. Shopacom, would you suggest that they utilize tomorrow to pick up laptops, or do you want them to wait till Tuesday?
They can come tomorrow too. We're there all day tomorrow if that shortens the line, but that's a pretty easy process. So if you want to wait, it doesn't take that long, but we're there all day tomorrow. Kind of go to the front office area and then you just call the school and then we'll get one out to them.
And so I'll go over this slide here, building access. The building is closed, no visitors, no parents are going to be allowed in the building. We'll continue with IEPs and meetings via Zoom. If you're bringing food deliveries to your children, make sure that you go through the west side student parking lot in front of the PAC, that area. Please remain in the car. Please do not call the front office. We're trying to limit the phone calls for instructional purpose, but we are okay if you bring your kiddos lunch during the day at lunchtime only. But if you do, make sure you stay in your car. Your student will leave through the west end by the PAC, come out and get the food from you in the car, and then come back into the building or eat outside, whatever they choose or prefer. But try not to call the front office asking for your student to be let out of class to go get food. This will happen during lunchtime, so please communicate beforehand with your son or daughter. Early checkout or for like doctor's appointments, etc. Just do us a favor and make sure you call the front office 527-9430. Make sure you have an ID. Whoever you call, whoever answers the phone will direct you what to do from there. But basically, you're going to meet them at the front door, similar to what you would do picking up a laptop. They'll check your ID, make sure the person who's calling to pick up the student is the legal guardian, and we'll run the ID just like we would normally. So you'd have to get out of your vehicle for that, walk up to the front door. Staff member will meet you there, grab your ID, double check it, and then release your student at that time. Next slide, please. Dress code. I did see a question about dress code. There it is. We will begin fully enforcing the LCPS policy dress code. That will begin on April 12th. For those of you that have been attending school currently, we haven't really enforced a lot of stuff. So you've seen a lot of students with ball caps, etc. And so we've been reminding students that coming pretty soon, we're going to start enforcing that. Well, we're probably going to use next week, the 3 days next week, to remind students one more time. And then beginning on April 12th, and you can see those images below of the acceptable side on the left and the not acceptable side on the right. So just be prepared, parents, that if your students are showing up in baggy pants and ball caps and those kind of things, that you may get some phone calls beginning on April 12th. Next slide. Activities, extracurricular. So any students that might be remaining in remote learning and want to participate in athletics or activities, they have to do so before or after school. So either 0 hour before school or after school, they can still participate. If there's an athletic period or a band class or something like that during the school day and you're in remote, you will not be able to attend for that period only. You'll have to wait till after school, or make sure you come to your practices before school if you're a remote learner. And that's for football, volleyball, girls, boys, basketball, but also for activities like band, for example. That's it for me.
I believe this was mine. So Juniors, pay attention. We are offering the optional SAT school day test on April 28th. But we need to know who's showing up. And so we have been taking a poll via a Google form, and we've extended the sign up time until April the 9th. So if you are interested in taking the SAT on April 28th, we need to know who's coming, getting numbers ready. And so you have until April 9th to sign up using the form that we've sent out. If you cannot find this form, if you search your email, let us know and we'll be happy to send it out to you again. So if you're interested in taking the SAT juniors only optional, it'll be on April 28th. We need to know you're coming first. STARS testing, which many of you guys have gone through already, will continue via your English classes, April through May. And so be ready for that. And your English teachers will be talking to you guys soon about when those will be taking place. And then those of you who are in AP or advanced placement courses, some of you have already registered for your AP, your prospective AP exams. And so we are currently working on that schedule. And those exams will be taking place, depending on the schedule, anywhere between May and June. And I believe that your AP teachers have been polling you recently or talking to you on which days you would be interested in taking those exams.
Is this me, picture day?
Could be either one of us.
So picture day is, sorry. Picture day is April 8th, and that's Thursday. So we're gonna have a room for non-seniors and then a room for seniors. So we'll make a bunch of announcements throughout the day to go in throughout the day, get your last chance for your picture, because we kind of messed up the senior ones last time, but this is the last senior and picture day. So we'll get everybody done on that day. We'll have 2 different areas to go to, and we'll just kind of rotate through, and I don't think we have too many that need to get it done. So we'll make a bunch of announcements and do all that good stuff when kids are there. So that one will be an easy one to take care of. So April 8th, it's a Thursday, dress code, all that good stuff. Make sure you put on all your pretty smiles for that day. We'll get you all done on the 8th. And then that's really kind of the reason that the yearbook and all that stuff will be a little bit later this year. And all the sports are done later and all the activities and all that stuff. So, but that way we can get them all in the yearbook, and this is the last chance to get your picture done. So make sure you get it done that day.
I'll do this one. It's been a long year and there's been so many changes. It was super exciting today to see all of the teachers and their first day jitters and getting everything ready. But, you know, given the environment and coming back to school, we need your help making sure we keep it a safe environment and we keep the doors open for kiddos. So it's beyond imperative that if your kiddo's feeling sick, if they've had a fever or any of the COVID symptoms that we could all probably ramble off because we've heard them so many times, please keep them home. Their learning will still be accessible in Canvas. We know there's the potential of having to move back and forth between remote and in the building. We hope we get to stay in the building. And so we have to contain sickness as much as possible as we're making this move back into the building. If your child has been in close contact with a person known to have COVID in the last 14 days, they need to stay home. And we just ask, we know it's hard and getting used to all the different rules and requirements is challenging, especially for adolescents. Please talk to your kiddos about wearing their mask at all times, except when they're eating and drinking. We give them reminders and we know that that's to be expected, but we need them to be receptive to the feedback to make this work. And so that's our big ask of you as parents and guardians. And then if there is an instance, we've had this already, where a kiddo gets sick during the day, we do have an isolation room and a place for handling sickness. And we just need parents to know that if your kiddo is identified as sick and needs to go home, it needs to happen pretty quickly from the time that our nurse gives you a call and lets you know they need to be picked up. But this is our commitment. We're asking all of our staff, our students, our families, everyone in the community to help us follow these so that we can stay open in the castle. And you want the last slide, Mr. Shapacom?
Sure, I'll get to that in a second. I'm gonna run through these questions real quick and then hopefully, then I'll go through this one. For Nurse Nicole. If you have questions about, and I'm just typing this one back, but if you got questions about, and I'll get to these questions over here and in the chat. So if you have questions about allergies and that type of stuff, call the school at 527-9430 and talk to the nurse. There's different things that she can help you out with and explain those kind of areas a little bit better. So if you got a question, just call the school and ask for Nurse Nicole, and then she can answer all those questions for you and all that good stuff. Again, for the pictures, I apologize for that. The company all of a sudden decided they weren't going to stick around. So again, try to get there on the 8th to do all those pictures. There's not going to be an opportunity for retake. We've done pictures a few times already, so there won't be retakes. So make sure you get there on the 8th, and I'm just going to go back up and make sure I don't miss any. So if you're staying remote and not coming to school, you're going to have to come to the front of the school on that day on the 8th, and then call the school. We'll get you in, we'll do the temp check, we'll get your picture taken, and then you can go home. And these are going to be random, very random questions because I'm just going in order. Right now at graduation, we're still planning on the Field of Dreams. Plan on 8 guests per graduate. If we're in the green or turquoise, I think we're going to be able to do some more. It just depends on where we're at. We're just saying 8. If we're in yellow and we remain where we're at now, 8 is going to be the number that we're going to stick to, and that's going to be about the 25%. So right now it's 8. It may go up from there. So off periods, if you don't have class till 3rd period, you just kind of show up like you normally do. Make sure you have the time that you need to be there. If you have an off period, dual credit, ACE, all that stuff, that's going to run just like normal. You show up at your normal time. And if you have dual credit in the afternoon, you just leave. If you have a off period in the afternoon, again, you just take off like you normally do, like we normally do when we come back to school. As far as the library being open or kind of a holding tank for some kids that don't have transportation, we're either going to use the library that is full of books and all kinds of stuff right now. Otherwise, we're going to have a holding tank kind of in the lecture hall. So if you can stick around to do some of your work, if you can't get off campus and all that good stuff. Kind of going back to the computers, and this is why computers is like a must and a big deal for everybody to bring. Everyone, we're going to have a handful of teachers, 2, 3, 4, or 5, that aren't coming back into the building, but are still going to teach from home online. So all the paperwork that they filled out, they're doing everything that they need to as far as for our HR department, all that good stuff. So kids are still going to have some classes that are going to be on Zoom. They're going to be in their classrooms, opening up their computers, doing Zoom potentially with that. So that's why they need to bring their computers, and they may have to do some work in those classes and some other classes. So that's why it's very important to bring a computer just in case you need to get some work done for that good stuff. As far as lunch goes, we're going to have some room in the cafeteria. I'm sure a lot of students are going to go to different classrooms with their teacher. We're going to have all kinds of rooms outside. So it's not going to be, we're wandering around all over the place during lunch. You're going to kind of find your spot, pick a spot, 3 to 6 feet apart, all that good stuff, and then just kind of hang out there. So yes, you can hang out with your friends and do all that stuff at a socially distance area. But again, it's not going to be wandering around and going from place to place. You kind of get where you're at and get yourself set. So we have different areas for for you guys to hang out for during lunch. Right now, we have about 800 students coming back. So right about 50% of students coming back. So half are staying home, half are coming back. Most of our teachers are going to be back live in the building doing all that good stuff. So again, we're at about 50%. Yes, you can do a lot of that stuff tomorrow. Just call the school. We're there all day tomorrow. Get your IDs. If you need to get your computer, I think there was a question about the charger. You can do all that stuff tomorrow and avoid some of the lines next week. Lunches, all you gotta do is go to the cart and pick up a lunch. Don't worry about the meal cost or any of that stuff this year. There are no food trucks. We're not going to do food trucks. And if we can do food trucks again in August, we'll bring those back. But if you need to bring a lunch, bring a lunch. You can keep it in a teacher's room. You can keep it with one of us. If you need to keep it in the fridge, we can work some of that stuff out. But meal cost is 0 right now. Yes, there are outlets in the rooms. We're going to have different areas and we have different times that we can plug those in, do all those good things. We have power strips, and so we'll work around some of those. So that's kind of answering why you need to bring a laptop. Make sure you bring your device, because everything's staying online. 95% of the stuff will not be paper. You may have some art stuff and all that good stuff, but question about, do they need IDs or some form of identification for SAT testing?
Since they're our students and they're pre-registering, they don't need it the same way as if it was administered on a Saturday. We just expect you to bring your student ID because you're coming into the building that day, but the student ID will be sufficient.
That's laptop. Again, graduation, we're going to have a meeting with the seniors, probably via Zoom. We're probably going to have a graduation rehearsal, maybe do a nighttime meeting with the seniors and the parents to go over all that stuff. But again, right now, the plan is everything that we normally do in the Pan Am, it's going to be shortened just a little bit because we're outside and depending on the temperature, but graduation will be somewhat normal if everything stays the way it is. We're just going to do it outside. So again, the library will find a spot for those. April 13th. So be on the lookout for emails, information on April 13th. So if you look on the school calendar, April 13th is a Tuesday. It's supposed to be a non-school day. We're going to bring it to the board at the next board meeting to make that a school day because the testing is actually going to be on the 28th. So make sure you check emails for all that good stuff. There's probably going to be school on the 13th. I know it's going to be a little bit short notice, but we changed that testing date. So we just got to get approval for the board, and that's going to happen at the next meeting. So if they do approve it, then April 13th will be a school day. It'll be a normal school day. So, but again, we'll get that information out via text, via email, all that good stuff. I'm drawing a blank with senior award night. Is that the 12th? Anyone?
I believe it's the 12th.
The
Yeah.
12th? Okay.
Yeah.
So senior awards,
More
we'll do
information to
that.
come.
What?
Said more information to come.
Yep. So plan on the 12th. We did it on a Wednesday again, just because I know sports, activities, all that stuff. So plan on the 12th. Driver's ed's going to stay the same. You're going to stay online, do all that stuff. So there's not going to be early stuff, right? They're not coming in early. So I'll miss all the driver's ed teacher to make sure that she gets all that information. No, you don't have to get your picture taken if you don't want to. You just won't be in the yearbook if you want to see your smiley face in the yearbook. If you have an off period and ride the bus, that's where we're gonna have the holding tank, normally in the library. And we may have it in the lecture hall depending, but if you ride the bus and have it off campus or you're off period, we'll find a spot for you to do some work. Again, don't worry about the parking permits, just make sure you have all your normal stuff for the car, insurance, all that good stuff. And we'll get out the off-campus permission slips on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. Prom, hold on prom. We're working on some different things with student council. It's not going to be a normal prom, so hold on that one. That's more information to come, hopefully very soon. That is a good question. If you have money in your account for lunches, I would say email one of us and we can get you in contact with someone that can help you out with that. I didn't even think about that question. That's a great question. So if you paid money, didn't use it, you still have a balance, call the school and get a hold of one of us and we'll get you to the right person to figure that out. No, freshmen are not allowed off campus and that's a district policy. So no, sorry. 10, 11, and 12, yes. Can you talk about how freshmen are recognized for academics? I know it's not this year, but when do you guys want to take that if we're kind of back to normal next year?
We do an academics assembly in the fall semester. And so we honor everybody from the year before. So that'll include freshmen for this year. They will get honored in the fall of next year. Because we have to have a kind of a full school year of grades in.
Yep. So lunch is going to work. We have about an hour time slot for lunch. So we're going to release the kids that leave campus, get all that. And then we're going to release by hallway to go to the commons, grab your lunch, get yourself sorted out. And then we'll release the next hallway or two and then the next hallway. So it's going to be a staggered lunch. Once the lines get down and the kids find their spot, we'll let the next group kind of go through. So that's going to be a work in progress, but I think we got a pretty good plan for that. But then again, I think a lot of kids right now, we don't have too many coming to school right now, but a lot of them are spending time outside. So no, you can check out a laptop for your kiddo if you want to. Yearbooks, I think they're up to 75, 85. I'll put an email address in there for you. Let me go over to the chat. Sorry, guys. So yes, if you drop your kiddos off at 8, you can. They may be outside for a few minutes, depending on how many get there. I know on a normal school day, we have some kids that show up at 6:30, and we have a kind of a holding spot for them. We just don't have any areas right now. So yes, you can drop them off. And if there aren't too many of them, we'll work with those individually and all that good stuff. So yes, you can drop them off early. Just know that they may be outside for a little while till we can figure things out and how many are going in. So restrooms, the biggest restroom time is going to be during class. We're going to kind of block them off, keep them closed during the transition period. So we've messaged out, we'll message out again for teachers that, hey, you need to go to the restroom, go to the restroom. It's limit 2 in the restroom at a time. So again, that'll be up to your kiddos and the kiddos that are there is to make sure that they, you know, kind of check and do that type of stuff. And we'll have people helping out for the first few days, but there'll be time to go during the class. There just won't be time during passing because that gets really crazy when you have all those kids out there during passing. So no, you don't need IDs if you're just picking up and dropping off. You just call the front office, all that good stuff. Remote kids don't need IDs. The forms for off campus, all that good stuff, you'll get them when you show up on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You can grab them there. Location for tomorrow. just to reiterate, if they're coming tomorrow at any time for a tour and all that stuff is where, Dr. Baker?
They're coming in through the Packside entrance. So the volunteers will come at 8:30 and get their temp checks and ready to go. They've set up stations and all kinds of fun things for the tours. And then starting at 9 o'clock on the Packside, we have plenty of helpers there for the well checks.
Perfect. Yes, if you're gonna switch, if you're in one and want the other one, and I'll get that message out again to all you guys, but you need to email, and I'm not trying to be that way, but you need to email me so I can keep track, so we can keep track of synergy and all that good stuff. So if you change your mind, you need to email me. No, kids aren't gonna be screened before they get on the bus. It'll just be at school. So they'll do the temp check, they'll show their ID, and then they're off and running for all that good stuff. So yep, you can pick up computers tomorrow if you need to. Otherwise, we can do that Tuesday. Again, if you change your mind, let me know, send me an email. Pictures are up April 8th. There's the yearbook link. We can put that in the email also. Let me go to this screen. Nope, all you gotta do is show up, grab your lunch. Don't worry about fees, don't worry about cost, don't worry about any of those forms for the rest of this year. So I joke with some of the kids that are there now. I buy quite a few of them lunch. They're in the hallway, so I walk them down to the thing and buy them lunch every day. So it's real cheap. Nope, no lockers for anything. Mr. Lucero, correct me if I'm wrong as far as the PE, but we're not gonna do lockers. We're not gonna have any of that. We may look at that in August, but Mr. Lucero, PE, you want to talk about that a tiny bit?
Yeah, we will have access to locker rooms to change for PE, weightlifting, gymnastics, dance classes. So you'll still use the normal PE lockers. Again, just a reminder that masks have to be on. Locker rooms will be used for changing quickly, immediately, and getting back out. We're not going to hang out, congregate, none of that. And that's about it. Lockers, we were thinking about allowing 1-day use for lockers, but really if you just want to bring your duffel bags and leave them there, we're going to lock the locker room every time we leave. So if you feel comfortable putting stuff in a locker, then that's fine if you want to, but it'll be a 1-day use only, kind of like when you go to the gym or Mershite or something like that. You use it, lock it, but then you have to leave it because they're going to be sprayed and sanitized every evening. We don't want to spray all over people's personal items.
And then the changing for PE, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lucero, that'll probably start on the 12th, correct? Give them a few days.
Yeah, so the first couple days, we're not going to ask anyone to dress out next week. It's just going to be kind of like a first day of school type thing. We'll go through procedures, all that kind of stuff. Show you where the locker rooms are. Some of you don't even know where that is, which gym you'll be located in for PE classes, where the weight room is. I'll go through the procedures in the weight rooms and those kind of things. They'll probably show you some of the outdoor facilities. And so that first week will just be used to kind of a learning process, and we'll try to get dressing out and doing that fun stuff the following week.
Perfect. And right now, as far as schedules goes, we're going to print out those for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. If we got questions, we all kind of know we're going to all have maps and teachers' rooms and all that good stuff. And again, you're going to have to be patient with us. We'll be patient with you. We'll get you to the right spot. I'm telling you, next week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are going to be a learning curve for all of us, but we'll get you to the right spot. All that good stuff. So don't worry about that, but we'll have freshman schedules, and then we'll get maps and all that good stuff to everybody that's there. So as far as rehearsals, and I think this is kind of the question for choir. I know if you're coming to school for choir, they're going to go practice outside. That's the only place they can do it right now. I know they're doing virtual concerts, and there may be some other concerts at school, depending on green and turquoise and all those colors and all that stuff. I think orchestra is going to do their virtual one again. So we'll get more information on that. But again, if you're not coming to school and the teacher or the club sponsor, whatever, isn't doing anything before or after school, you kind of miss out. But most are doing stuff either before school or after school. I would just suggest you get with your in choir, talk to your choir teacher, band, talk to your band teacher and all that stuff if you're in the class, and kind of find out what they're going to do. I know they're doing different type of concerts, and some virtual, some hopefully live and all that good stuff. So I would talk to your teachers on that piece.
As of right now, all performing arts will be virtual.
Okay. And the normal typical day, if you're coming to school, there's a question in here, we'll get that information out, but first kind of bell will ring at 9:25, they got to be in class, and then 3:30, everybody gets dismissed. And as far as the lunch question, so I I promised, and I kid around with the kids now that are there because it's not that big of a deal because it's only a few of them, but we're going to let those kids that leave campus first, get them out of the building, and then we'll start in A hall, B hall, and we'll rotate around. So you might have extra 5 minutes this day and extra 5 minutes that way. So it'll even out, and I'll keep good track of. So it'll all even out at the end. So you may have 5 minutes shorter of lunch, but let's be honest, guys, we have an hour and you normally had 40 minutes. So there's plenty of time to have lunch and do all that stuff. So we'll rotate that around. So we'll figure that piece out. Pick up after school at 3:30. Again, that's on the west side. Security will be out there and kind of show you where to go, but they'll go out the west end and they'll wait for parents right there. It gets a little messy at 3:30. I'll be honest, with 1,600 kids and maybe half, it'll be a little bit better, but when everybody wants to pick up their kid at 3:30, there's a lot of patience that needs to happen in the parking lot. I would recommend, or highly recommend, if you don't want to be caught in those lines, to tell your son or daughter that you're going to be there at 3:40 or 3:45, and that'll save you a lot of headaches and heartaches, and there's nothing that we can do about all the traffic. There's one way in and one way out, and that's just the way the school is. So if you want to save yourself a little frustration, my best advice would be, hey, I'm going to pick you up at 3:40 or 3:45 when some of that traffic dies down. Because I'll tell you, 3:30 is a nightmare to get out of there some days. Again, lunch is free. Don't worry about that. If you have a balance or you have credit or all that good stuff, email one of us and we'll get you to the right spot. Mr. Womble, student view, bus number, that's all coming out tomorrow, and all that clarification. The number, the STS number. If you got questions, call the school. We can help you out with that. But all that information should be sent out, email, all that good stuff tomorrow, and then we'll tell you exactly where to get it, how to get it. Yes, performing arts can do stuff outside as long as they're so many feet apart and all that good stuff. Mr. Lucero, you have more on choir, band. You know what they're doing?
Yeah, like the wind instruments, singing, that kind of stuff has to happen outside. Orchestra can be inside, of course. Your drum line and stuff can be inside. However, I think they prefer to be outside most of the time. So get with your teachers. They'll explain and go through the process with you for next week. Just get with them on either the Zoom or when you're coming in, and they'll get with you. Same with theater. We're going to use the stage for some of that stuff for the in-person learning.
And the advisory lesson for this week also showed all the students where to go and find their schedule with the room numbers. So if your freshman isn't coming to one of the tours, or they're an upperclassman and need to look it up again, go to advisory and all of the directions are in there.
Yep. And we'll figure it out. Like I said, there's going to be lots of patience, and it's going to take us a few days, but if you come to school in August, it's the same way for really the first 2, 3, 4 days. And it's always a crazy time, but a good time because kids are back. So but we're just going to print out schedules for the freshmen. And if you need one printed out, or if we'll do that for you too. We're just not going to mass print out all those. We'll get you to where you need to be, and it's going to take you a few days. And I'm really hoping by April 12th, that Monday, that we're all set to go and you know where you're going. And Again, freshmen, if people tell you to go to I Hall or go look for the pool or anything like that, come find an admin or a counselor before you start looking for I Hall or where the pool's at school. You'll probably get some of that. Any more questions? If we missed your question, I apologize. I ran through the ones in the chat over here in the question and answer. If we got more questions, and if I missed it, retype it in there. I apologize. We are so excited. We're 8 times excited because we have about 100 to 125 kids showing up every day right now, except for Wednesdays. And we're going to multiply that by 8. So we are excited to see them. And what else? Any other questions? So one of the questions that just popped up is virtual for next year. So if counselors, if you know more information than I do, you guys can jump in, but I know they are starting a VLA school. It's actually going to have a principal. So if you want to stay online, you're doing good online, you're not really in any activities and you don't want to be at school, there's going to be that option. So if we're still in this same area right now, you know, if we're in a different color, hopefully we'll be green or turquoise and we're kind of back to normal, or everybody comes back, but there will be that option. So check emails, check the websites, all that good stuff. They are actually going to have their own kind of VLA school because some kids are doing real well in this area. So that will be an option for some kids if you want it. Just make sure you check emails and do all that stuff. Prom, again, hold on prom. I know student council and I don't know what other groups are all working on that. It's not going to be a normal prom by any means, but we're looking at doing different things maybe at school and how do you socially distance, some of that stuff. So hold on the prom. We're going to figure something out where we can do something. And I'll be honest, if it is prom and you're a freshman and a sophomore and maybe even a junior, you might be a little disappointed, but we're going to try to take care of the seniors first and then go from there and just see how many we can have and all that good stuff. So we're going to have to do something. There are no classes tomorrow, no classes Friday, no classes Monday. So everybody's back to kind of normal on Tuesday of next week with a little bit different times. Mr. Holguin, the kids are getting dropped off in the front. Are those earlier times? What are those? What's going to happen? Does that shift?
No, there'll be someone up there at 8 o'clock waiting to take temperatures. So the staff will be there. So that's all the same.
Those kiddos are going to be on a different schedule a little bit, right?
Yeah. So there'll be somebody there. They'll be good to go.
Don't need anything for a parking permit. We're not going to do that. Just make sure you have your stuff for the car. Anything else? Any other questions? Buses, will get that all information out tomorrow. There's going to be a big long email. This video will be in there. Again, if you got questions, email any of us. Call the school tomorrow. We're there all day tomorrow. I will tell you there's nobody there at school on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you call the school on Monday, it's just a few employees there. So I don't know how many people are going to be in the building on Monday. So we need to get stuff done. Get it done tomorrow. Otherwise, you're going to have to kind of wait till Tuesday. If you don't have an ID, you don't have to have an ID. We'll make you or give you a temporary one. Instruments left at school. Silva Mormon, any of them said anything about that? They leave their instrument at school. They have those little spots, don't they? Don't see why not.
I think it depends which instrument. So if it's the big, huge, heavy ones, those will probably stay. If it's the smaller ones, you'll probably take them home every day and bring them back.
Reach out to
But get with-
Sylvan Mormon in that group. Yep.
Yep.
And the normal time for everybody ending school ending day, Mr. Holguin, 3:30 for everybody.
Yes, every single student will end at 3:30.
So some might start a little bit different, but for the majority, it'll be cool. Anything else? Somebody get kicked out? What are we missing? Oh. Looks like there was more. We haven't had any problems with, I haven't heard any complaints. If you have your headphones and your earbuds and all that good stuff, teachers are teaching, students are doing all that stuff. We haven't had any problems. I know it might be a little bit more with more kids in there and we can adjust that. So we haven't had any issues with that. And really right now with 800 kids coming back or so, about 50% of the school population, classes are going to be probably about 15 in there each max. We're going to have a few bigger depending on what kids come home, but nope, no school tomorrow, no school Friday, no school Monday. Everybody comes back on Tuesday. So if your students are home, they're going to be on a little bit different schedule as far as Zooms too. So another question has been how many teachers are doing live Zooms? How many are doing recorded? I'll have that information. All the teachers email me that information. So if you're at home right now and you normally start class at 10 for first period or second period, you may start at 9:25 because your teachers are going to do live Zooms. If your teachers are going to do a live Zoom, I would highly recommend that you get there at 9:25 and log in so you can, it's just the schedule is going to be a little bit different. Hours are going to be a little bit different. So those are the times, and like I said, we'll get that emailed out, but some teachers are going to do live just like they're doing now, so you're going to have to log in at a little bit different times. But we'll get that information out there and teachers will put it in Canvas, and again, that'll be next week to kind of sort that out, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Anybody know anything about the menu on Parent View is not active? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. I will. Anything else? Are there any more questions? We are done with our presentation. If you need anything, call the school 527-9430, where pretty much everybody's there tomorrow. Like I said, nobody's there on Friday. We do have some games, I guess, stuff on Saturday, but get all your stuff done tomorrow if you can. Monday's going to be not too many people there. Freshman tours are just in the morning, correct? Tomorrow?
Correct, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
And really, it's, you're a sophomore, junior, senior, you want a tour, come on in, but you guys know where you're going, so. Remote learning on Wednesday, it's just tutoring from 8:15 to 9:15, and then teachers will have some times if you need to reach out to your teacher. They can meet with you individually and all that good stuff, but really on Wednesdays, if you don't need any extra help and all that good stuff, Wednesday is just a day to get all your stuff done, so. Zach Canby save the beard. Well, maybe we'll have to do a little vote on that. I said when all the kids come back, and not all the kids are back, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see about that one, Zach, so.
Look like ZZ Top.
If there's nothing else, have a wonderful evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Can't wait to see you guys on the 6th. Enjoy your kind of mini spring break. You just had spring break and you're on another break again. Like, I wish I was a kid back in school again, but we will see you all on April 6th. If you need anything, please email us, call us. Have a wonderful night.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care.
Have a good night.
Bye.